We live? Hello, everyone. Are we live?
Hello. Yeah, I think we're live.
All right, then we are now entering part 2 of the Q&A. And before we get into everybody's questions, we'll all just introduce ourselves and our topic. So my name is Milan, and my project was on deepfake pornography and the digital assault on women's bodies. Jonah?
I'm Jonah, and my project was on mediating rebellion in the entertainment industry.
Hi, everyone. My name is Pi, and my project was on Beyond Whiteness, Asian Beauty in a Globalized World.
Am I going next?
Yes.
Hello, everyone. I'm Chloe. I'm the one that you just watched, and my project is on gazing indulgence and a case study on the Palace Museum and Gugong Taobao.
Hi, everybody. I'm Emma, and my presentation was on the contours of queer consent, examining representations of consent in queer cinema.
All right, so if anyone has questions, feel free to put it in the chat. I guess our projects were so great, there's no question.
They were super comprehensive.
Mm-hmm.
Are you all like typing?
I don't know. The first question is for Emma. How did you do your research on off-screen consent? By Abigail.
By Abigail. Abigail, that's a great question. Thank you for asking. The gist of it is that I watched a lot of movies with queer sex in them, and then I kind of figured out which ones I wanted to go with from there. But it took a lot of research, a lot of time, and yeah, I ended up choosing the ones I did because I thought that they gave the broadest ground for representations of consent.
Keep them questions coming. We got time.
Otherwise, we're just gonna have to ask each other questions.
Or silently smile at the camera. Oh, here we go. Oh, the questions. Okay, never mind. I'm so sorry. Here we go. So this is from Professor Dufresne for Chloe. When I visited the Forbidden City last year, I saw many school children. Are there ways in which Taobao capitalizes or reinforces a nostalgic nationalistic gaze as a part of its appeal?
This is a very long question. Let me read it again. Sorry.
Go for it.
I think definitely because the main page of Gugong Taobao is like designed like the look of the Forbidden City, and it's like I think it's trying to capture this kind of royal or like nostalgic feeling, and it's actually adding new elements to the nostalgic elements so that more people can like echo with it. And I think that's definitely a very important part of it. And yeah.
Great. So the next question's from Henry, and he's asking for everyone, what was the most challenging part of your research? So I guess I can start this one off. The most challenging part for my project was, I guess, just finding material, because everyone was telling me, Milan, what are your media objects? And for the longest time, I had no media objects, actually for the majority, and I still don't have any media objects. So that was really, really hard for me in like trying to basically figure out the layout of my paper and how it would look without media objects. So that's why I focus more on the technology as a whole rather than focusing on one individual thing. And Jonah, you can take it away.
I think the most challenging part was the fact that my subjects, I probably could have written, 100 pages on each one and had to condense what I was going to research and write about to pretty much 5 pages of analysis for each. So that was it for me.
Yeah, I guess the most challenging part for me was kind of taking a look back at like all these beauty standards that have been internalized by myself and like trying to unpack them because it was a little uncomfortable, and then just creating the video in general was the most challenging part.
I guess for me, the most difficult part is this is a very personal project for me because I'm like a huge fan of Gugong Taobao and the Palace Museum, but like I have to sometimes take myself out of this box to look at the whole thing and look at the social media, which I take for granted every day, more critically. So that's like finding that critical point is like the most important or like the most difficult part for me.
I see. All right. Our next question is directed at Pai from Min Long Nguyen. Pai, do you think that there's a movement happening regarding the issue of colorism in Asia?
Yeah, I think so, especially because one of the commercials I featured where it was for a skin whitening pill, there was huge backlash against that. And then the company did pull out the ad afterwards. So I think that there is improvement, but there still needs to be a lot more to be done.
Great. So this next question is from Angela. It's for everyone. Did you start with an idea / concept or have a specific media item that you wanted to closely examine? I can start this one off. Going back, I just knew I wanted to do it on deepfakes, but there were so many different avenues that I could go down. And so I was trying to narrow my scope. So then I focused it on pornography and kind of the objectification of women. And so I went down that rabbit hole, and that's basically my project. Jonah?
Oh, sorry. I kind of started with a totally different idea, and I changed halfway through, so that was difficult for me. And then originally I wanted to kind of focus on actors like Marlon Brando and James Dean in like the 1940s and 50s that were part of the actor studio and were practicing the method and just the implications of fragile masculinity overall at that time with actors post World War II. My professor really encouraged me to expand and address other aspects of intersectionality. So I kind of just expanded upon what I was working on.
Yeah, I think I definitely started with more of an idea because I was interested in like beauty branding. And then it just became much more than that because I realized that there's a lot of like socioeconomic implications and like racism and then gender that goes along with like beauty branding. And I just went down that rabbit hole.
I see. All right. So this next question is from Henry, and it's directed towards me and Emma. Did you discuss consent at all / the importance of consent in online interactions? So within my project, I do talk about consent and more specifically, their lack of, especially when it comes into the context of deepfake pornography. consent is unacknowledged as a whole because these videos are made secretly and remotely, and all that is required are photos of you found from the internet. And so that's why I kind of talk about that and like the problems within the legality of deepfakes. So
yeah,
Emma,
I
your turn.
think I think it was really interesting to see your presentation and see the overlaps because mine like rests on where consent is. And I think I did want to answer like what the most difficult part of my presentation or my project was. And I think it was looking into the like on-screen and off-screen piece of it, and that a lot of times in off-screen shooting sex scenes, off-screen there's not much consent. And I felt like that was really difficult to kind of grapple with than the on-screen. But I think Milan and I should talk about, the importance of consent because I think it like relates to our projects both really nicely.
Definitely. All right. So this next question is for Chloe. What is Gugong Taobao's approach for expressing the message / informing history with the products they're listing online?
Hi, thank you for asking. So there's definitely information on like every product's introduction page. There are like very detailed introduction of the designing elements, the inspiration, or like the history or the theme behind it. But I think one of my argument is that Gugong Taobao is not, or like this is a question with every museum, like they are not introducing enough about the history because history itself is controversial. But like for most products or like museums, they are exhibiting only like the positive side of it. So although I'm like a huge fan of it, I still think they should introduce more through the designing of the creative cultural product. I think that's like very important or like the future development of it.
Yeah. All right, and for the last question to conclude the Q&A is from Professor Fox, and it's directed towards Pi. Can you share some of the opportunities for argument formation that the video essay format afforded over writing, and conversely, any challenges compared to written argument?
Yeah, I think a video essay allows viewers to kind of analyze what they're seeing for themselves so that my own voice isn't being kind of projected out and like enforced into readers. And I guess like one of the challenges I faced was that I couldn't really explain some of my theoretical framework as well in the video because it would be like too much voiceover over showing visuals. But in general, I think like because I dealt with beauty standards and I had to like be able to show that in order to kind of explain my arguments.
I see. All right. Well, that concludes the live Q&A for part 2. And so I just wanted to thank everyone who came by and watched and participated. We all really, really appreciate it. And I just would like to remind everybody that comps not quite done. We still have production kids. So please tune in on Saturday on the same website that you're watching our comps on. And that will be happening at 5 p.m. So make sure to stay tuned for that.
And we also want to thank Dr. M for helping us out with every single one of our projects, and also like to all of our peers who have like reviewed our papers again and again. I know that's like a painful process, but we all made it. So congrats to everyone and thank you to everyone.
Yeah, big thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much to everyone. Thank you especially Dr. M. I think it was incredible that it was her first year as the advisor to this project. And I'm really proud of everything I created, and seeing my classmates' work was incredible. Everyone did a really great job.
And I also want to give a shout out to Diana and who made this like presentation possible. I think that's like very important. Like we're all like panicked, but she gave us like the strides to do it online. So thank her for that. And I guess we'll all see you all on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah. Thanks
Thank you
everybody
everyone for coming.